So earlier today, Israel launched a raid on Gaza in order to rescue some of the hostages that were taken during the October 7th attack, and it led to the death of 210 Palestinians. We have this article here from Reuters. Israel rescues 4 hostages in Gaza. Hamas says 210 Palestinians killed in an Israeli assault. Israeli forces rescued 4 hostages led by Hamas since October in a raid in Gaza on Saturday, while over 200 Palestinians were killed in airstrikes in the same area, according to Hamas officials, in one of the bloodiest Israeli assaults of the war. It was not immediately clear if the hostage rescue and the Israeli air assault were part of the same operation, but both took place in central Gaza's al-Nusrat, a densely built up and often embattled area in the 8-month-old war between Israel and Hamas, the Palestinian territory ruling Islamic group. An Israeli military spokesperson said the hostage rescue operation unfolded under fire in the heart of a residential neighborhood where he said Hamas had been hiding captives among Gaza civilians under guard by armed militants. And also but this right here, it's like, we're not immediately clear if the rescue and the air assault were part of the same operation. Of course they were. You honestly think that it's a complete coincidence that they took place at the exact same time, in the exact same area? For a good part of this article, it just talks about like the hostages coming back and just the raid itself, like the October 7th raid. But this is just, it's not a great look. Also, it appears they also might have killed some hostages during these assaults. So it's not great, obviously, but like if it took like 210 Palestinians to die just for you to rescue 4 hostages, you shouldn't count that as a victory, I'm gonna be honest. Basically what you're doing there is you're killing almost 40 people per one hostage. Like for every one hostage, you're killing 40 people. And imagine like if you were a cook and you made one cheeseburger, but unable to make that one cheeseburger, you destroyed like 20 pans. No one would say you're a good cook. Also, more than likely, yeah, they definitely killed some of their own hostages. We're not aware of the number of them yet, but it's not hard to believe that that very much would be the case because they've done it before. They killed Israeli hostages before all the fucking time. There was that one guy who was literally trying to wave a white flag who got shot down immediately. There's plenty of bombings that have taken place where hostages died because of Israel's actions because they don't really care. Gaza's government media office says the Israeli massacre at the Nusrat refugee camp in central Gaza killed 210 Palestinians and wounded more than 400. Doctors Without Borders says Al-Aqsa Hospital in central Gaza is a nightmare, treating an overwhelming number of severely injured patients, many of whom are women and children, after the Israeli attack in Nusrat. This is just also like there is like a refugee camp in that area, as it says right here. Israeli forces rescued 4 captives in the attack at a refugee camp, with one of its officers dying during the operation. And I have been seeing like video after video today of just, and I'm not going to show them because, no, it's YouTube, but it's just been a disaster. Like, this is complete disaster. Again, this is one of the worst attacks they've committed since October 7th, and that's saying a lot. 600 people affected by this, and like 1/3 of them is dead. And again, they don't know how many of those are hostages, so they're basically just shooting themselves in the foot to get 4 people. And here's the thing, if they really cared all that much about getting hostages home, they would accept the deal that Hamas brought to them, just like, I believe it's a month ago at this point, or, I don't know, this one. The one that Biden promoted, which essentially was just the Hamas deal that Hamas brought to the table a month ago. But nope. Yeah, this happened earlier this week and quickly fell out of the news cycle because Israel was just like, nah, it's not good for us, chief. Because they don't care. They would much rather just do this over and over and over again. It's just completely disgusting. Now, this is a breaking story. Unfortunately, we don't have like a lot of information on this. So it's also what kind of, we don't even know how many hostages they could have killed in this operation. We don't know the full details yet, but we'll see. And now we are at fucking 36,000, almost 37,000 people killed, almost 84,000 wounded. The revised death toll in Israel from Hamas's attacks stand at 1,000, with dozens of people still held captive. It just sucks. Like, I just don't know what to even say at this point. But again, it's still breaking. So that's the thing. There's a whole thread here. Investigation needed for claims Israel used humanitarian work cover during Israel attack. And yeah, that was also another thing. And we'll just like kind of talk about here. Kenneth Roth, the former executive director of Human Rights Watch and a visiting professor at Princeton University, said claims that Israeli forces may have used the disguise of humanitarian aid workers during the refugee camp attack need to be investigated. We don't really know what vehicles were used. The initial allegation was that humanitarian vehicles were used and that clearly would be illegal, despite the fact that they've done that. They haven't done this specifically, but they like dressed up as doctors for that hospital attack. That would endanger humanitarian workers. As if they really cared, they bombed like World Central Kitchen. There's been plenty of humanitarian workers who have been, or like, aid workers who have been killed, almost like over 200 at this point. Now Israel denied that, so I think we don't know. What we do know is that investigation is needed to ensure that this was not an effort to pose as humanitarian workers or medical workers or some kind of protected worker, because the use of such vehicles would endanger those people. Also, so that basically comes out of it's believed that I believe was also like helicopter footage that was shown. I don't think it's gonna be here, of essentially them using a helicopter on that port that the U.S. that we made for humanitarian aid. They used that in order to get their troops on the ground. Also, there was a claim that they used a truck as a sort of Trojan horse, which I think he might be referencing there. So again, we'll have to see, but who knows? Maybe Israel will investigate it because they seem to always investigate themselves and never find anything wrong with that. A fucking travesty as usual. Just another set of war crimes, and we'll have to just wait and see what comes out of this.